right, we are live here with one of our youth turning into high school program wrestlers. Again, on our periodic Waconia Wrestling podcast here, we're joined tonight with Cameron Murdock, and we're here to talk about, again, our off-season series topics. And Cameron's been really active this year in the freestyle greco program, among other things. So I wanted to introduce you, Cameron. How's it going tonight?
Great. Glad to be here. Like you said, my name's Cameron. I've been wrestling for 8 years. My favorite takedown in wrestling is low single. And my favorite pinning combination that I use sometimes is going to probably be the armbar half.
Nice. We're skipping ahead a little bit, but low single, it's making me think about, I don't know if you watched any of the Olympics, but a lot of the Japanese wrestlers just killing the competition with low singles this last week. So be interested to talk more about that as we get deeper into the podcast. But yeah, so you're incoming seventh grader. Tell us where you go to school and then tell us a little bit about this past folk style season before we get into the off season stuff.
Yeah. I go to school in CCLS in Watertown, private school, and folk style season. Some of the stuff about the folk style season that I liked was going to folk style state and advancing in the brackets, winning my semifinals match to go to the finals was really fun. Ended up having a tight match in the finals, taking silver, but still a really good match, 4-2. Yeah, just a great folk style season. I loved it.
Yeah, you're so close in that in Min USA tournament you're talking about, right? It's you wrestled all over the place, but that was a tough one. But I know you really grew from that that match this year and really motivated, I think, a lot of your off-season stuff, which I'm really excited to talk about. And I know the NYWA season was in there too. The regional bracket was super tough at your weight, and that was kind of like a mini state tournament in that region, wasn't it, Cam?
Yep.
Hammers, yeah. So let's talk about freestyle. You, how many years have you been doing freestyle greco?
3, starting my 4th next year.
Okay, so still relatively new to it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so what's is there a transition that happens in terms of you going from folk style to freestyle greco? Talk a little bit about what that looks like. What are some of the positions you got to really reacclimate yourself to when we get back, start freestyling?
The transactions is, instead of being in a stance like tight and low, freestyle and greco. In greco, you got to be up high, and it's more upper body, so you have to work on upper body. And freestyle, you just get the opportunity to learn lots more moves. So, like from folk style, learning some moves, and then freestyle, there's more moves that add on to get more points, and matches can go more quick. Instead of folk style.
Yeah, and you're a pretty physical hand fighter. So do you feel like a greco does that come a little easier to you, just in terms of just the, how physical it is and just the control ties, that kind of style?
Yeah. I love greco because I get to use the upper body, which is like my strongest part is my upper body and my arms. So I like getting in and like grabbing and tossing.
Yeah, you're comfortable in a lot of those upper body positions, whether it's front headlock or underhooks, overhooks, 2-on-1s, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So you did quite a bit of competing this freestyle greco season, maybe the most among our kind of youth going into high school, I think, in our room. Did you do any of the open tournaments?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
No opens. No, you did the No Nonsense collab we did with them. We went to the barn for a couple of, we had a few matches there that you did. Talk about
Yeah,
Freestyle Greco State. We went down to Rochester and what that was like. Talk
that
about
was
Greco was first on what, that Saturday, and then it was freestyle the next day.
yeah.
Yep.
Greco on Saturday was awesome. Getting out there on the mat, wrestling, trying something new, and seeing what it's like to be in Greco. Winning all my matches except for my final one came down to like a tick, 1-1 in criteria, which I didn't really figure out I didn't really know much about like the rules of Greco. But after that match, um, I kept on like practicing and learning, and now I'm pretty sharp on the rules for Greco, all set on that. And then freestyle was a joy, just advancing through the brackets and taking the state championship home with me, winning state there. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Runner
Standing
up
on the
in
top of the
Greco.
podium.
Runner up in Greco, and I think it was your first state championship was that freestyle tournament, right?
Yup.
So long time
First
coming. That
title.
was really cool for you to see you do that and get over that hurdle, especially given how close you were in folk style. Um, but basically, you're in the state finals in all three styles, more or less. So pretty strong season there. And then I know that the tiebreakers are. It feels like we can coach you guys up as much as possible in terms of reading through the rules, sending you links, sending your parents links, but you kind of experience it the most by competing, right? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
right? So there's those
Yup.
three different tiebreaker pieces of criteria, right? It's the most big points scored is the first, then
Yup.
caution, number of caution. So if it's
And then
one
the
one,
last one
then
that took it down.
then it's whoever scored last, right? Yeah. So, but I know you learned a lot from that. That's, hey, better to learn that in a 12U tournament than, I think a lot of us really are trying to get everybody excited and really peak for when you're older in that 16U and junior freestyle Greco state and beyond. It's really what the big picture is. Everything's gravy, from prior experiences and prior age group tournaments. But yeah, that's really when, if you want to wrestle beyond, those the 16U and junior divisions are really um, can attract a lot of college and just it's probably the best of the best, I would say, in terms of your development cycle. So great job on your state tournaments. And then talk a little bit about you also were in the freestyle tournament at Northern Plains at the regionals. Again, it was down in Rochester. Talk a little bit about that. And for those that aren't familiar with what Northern Plains is, talk what was that about, and what were some of the different kids you might have wrestled from different states and stuff.
Yeah. So Northern Plains is like the whole entire Midwest. So like Minnesota, all the states that are close to Minnesota, all the kids meet up and wrestle. So I was wrestling kids from like North Dakota, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, and my first match was a kid from North Dakota, multi-state champion. I came in there a little nervous, wasn't thinking positive and high, but as soon as I got out there on the mat, I just wrestled and ended up taking the victory with the fall. And then I wrestled the kid that beat me in Greco State and then ended up with the fall in that. And then I lost to a kid from Nebraska, Tech Fall, which was a really upset loss. Then after that loss, I shook the loss off and went for bronze, wrestling that kid from North Dakota again, and ended up beating him like 10-7 for third place. And I was really happy about that.
Yeah, that kid was pretty strong.
Yeah.
He was pretty put together. Not to say that you aren't yet, but um, he had some man muscles developing for sure. And yeah, I think it just showed you had the superior technique for sure. And I think what I like about your style is you just kind of know what you want to do, right? But yet you're still developing a lot of new skills. these years. So yeah, so you ended up taking third at Northern Plains Regionals. So awesome job, getting that next best thing that Coach Voss talks about, right? Was that kind of in your mind? Like, hey, losing in the semis, it's tough, but what was that mindset back in the consolations?
Well, as soon as I lost in the semis, I was very upset, but I shook my loss off, and I had to get the next best placing I could get, which was third. So I won my way all the way to that third place match and won by 3 points to take the third place medal.
Nice. And was this your first time at Northern Plains? Have you
Yes.
competed there before? I think the last
Yep.
several years it was in Wisconsin, right? I think
Yep.
at the Dome up in the Wisconsin Dells, kind of by Chula Vista. So I think it's going to be back in Rochester again next year, and then I think it might go back to Wisconsin every 2-3 years. So yeah, nice to have it home field advantage next year again. So are you planning to
Yeah.
do the same kind of schedule next year? It'll be kind of 14U now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So from those performances, Min USA selects kids to go to makes these, select teams or all-star teams to wrestle other states at these national dual tournaments. And you were invited, I believe, to be on the freak. And that's kind of the topic of tonight's discussion is we're trying to recognize all of our kids that have competed, especially on dual teams and just across especially just those that compete a lot this freestyle Greco off season. So talk about what was like, when did you get the call? What was, to be invited to this team, and what was that all about? Talk about that process for getting picked for the team.
Yeah. I remember coming home one day, walking inside, and seeing an invite that came in the mail on my mom's phone saying my name that you have been invited to the FREECO National Duels, and I felt on top of the world because this was my first time competing at duels. Yeah, my first time, and it just felt really good getting the invite, and competing on the team was really fun. So
Yeah. So did you do some training then? Did you have like some practices
yeah,
to prepare with the team? What did that look like? Who were some of the kids that you met and partnered with and became friends with
so
as
yeah, we
teammates?
trained down in Augsburg at the college in Minneapolis. Um, I did meet some kids that I got to wrestle on my team with, like Jacob Graber, um, Mike Alexander, Mike Alexander from Winona. Those two kids, mainly watching them wrestle in my wrestling room, knowing that they're on the same team with me, makes me feel like I'm the best. Like I'm so happy to be on that team with them.
Yeah, it's a super cool experience being around like-minded
Yeah,
teammates across the state that maybe you knew a little bit about, right? And
yeah.
or maybe they might have been a rival of yours. And then, were there any of those kids that you had wrestled and maybe you weren't too fond of, but then you became friends through that process?
Um, Kids that I've wrestled. No, I don't think there was
You
that
had
much
wrestled then?
kids that. No,
Maybe
I
they're
don't
different
think.
weight classes, right?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
every single kid I think I knew there, except for like the Jacob Graber and the Mike Alexander. Those two were probably the new ones.
Got it. And you were on the Minnesota Storm red team, and Minnesota sent two teams down there. How did the team do? How did your team do?
We took second in freestyle and second in Greco, losing to the same team in the finals.
And who was that?
Missouri.
Missouri. Got it. Were they doing some of the states you could see they do either similar techniques, whether it's arm throws or, some guys are doing a lot of front head stuff and then to certain turns. Did you see any of those commonalities, these other states that made them tough?
Yeah, I saw Kansas was doing really good moves, scoring back to back points on a lot of teams, including us. They scored some points with some really good moves that we
Nice.
knew.
How was your performance? How did you, you know, wins, losses, lessons learned, breakout performances? What were some of your, reflection of your performance there at that tournament?
Yeah, so I had 4 wins and 7 losses, and lessons learned. I just learned like to keep my head up after every single loss I had, to go back out there and take a win. And beating one of my wins was Illinois' best wrestler at my weight in their state, and beating him by criteria 1-1 was a very good match. Probably one of the best wins I had in the whole tournament.
How'd that go? Was it one of these where you just both got cautions, or was it each got a step out, or how'd you score the points?
Step outs, and then so he got a step out in the beginning of the match. Then it came down to the last 30 seconds where I got a step out. So then it was 1-1, and then I had the criteria. So then I had to defend for 30 seconds, and that was very, very hard. The last 10 seconds, he just kept charging at me, so I had to defend. The ref kept calling me, so I'm like, "There's 5 seconds left, just hand fight," and I hand fighted and ended up winning the match.
Nice.
Really happy.
Those close wins can really draw a lot of momentum for the team, right?
Yeah.
Did that spark some excitement for that's what's cool about the duels, right? Everybody gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And the record can be deceiving because it's not like you're wrestling. It's not like it's the best of the best, right? When you get to these events, right? So it's a crapshoot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's very equally matched, and it's going to be a dogfight either way, right?
Yep.
So, for kids that, I know that they're always looking for, quality wrestlers for these teams, and also that there's still lots of weight classes to fill. So we're going to have more and more kids coming through our freestyle greco program, especially in the elementary level. We got a lot of young kids in that kind of 10U age group. That'll probably be 12U eligible next year. But your team was made up of all different. It was basically an all elementary team, right? So
yep.
Did you have some third, fourth graders, maybe a couple younger grades at even those lightweights, right? So it was pretty diverse.
I think
group of kids.
We had a second grader and a third grader even on our team. Half of our team was third and fourth until it got up to the 98-pound slot and up was all fifth and sixth.
Yep.
So, yeah, good turnout for elementary.
Very cool. And who are some of your coaches that you learned from on this trip?
Rudy James. And
good guy.
I can't remember his name. He's from Blaine. He's I don't know what his last name is. Hatham, Coach Hatham.
Hatham. Yeah, Hatham.
Yeah.
I met Hatham this year. I've known him over the years. Yeah. He can be a pretty passionate guy, fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Gets excited.
Yeah. He gets very excited.
Him and Rudy are probably kind of polar opposites. Rudy, I don't know if his pulse ever gets above 60.
Nope. He'll just be like, "You got the W, now go get another one."
Yeah. Rudy's I think he's coaching he coaches all over, but he's a mini elite and an Apple Valley guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. So would you recommend this experience to others for those that get a chance to? And is this something that kids that are doing freestyle Greco in our elementary kids in our program, is this something they should maybe shoot for in future years? Yeah. Highly recommend. Mostly recommend.
Yeah. I highly recommend them to go out there and try their best just all the way to get up here. They have a great chance to do it.
What did you guys do off the mat that might have been fun? Did you guys get to hang out in the pool and spend time out off the mat, just kind of getting to know each other, just goofing around
yeah,
during in between duels?
we off the mat, usually in the dome when we were off the mat, we would always stay as a group and go cheer on either Team Blue or the girls team from Minnesota. And then out of the dome, if we were off the mat, like we would play tag in our hotel. We would go out to eat with the team and play outside and do fun games. So, yeah, we were
Nice.
doing stuff off the mat every day. That was fun.
Very nice. And at some of the other dual tournaments, and then at Fargo and other things like that, they have a gear exchange. Like some teams will
Yeah.
trade singlets. Did you get to any of that? Do any
Nope.
trading? Okay. Just kept all your Minnesota
Nope.
stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet.
I think I forgot all
Cool.
my gear. I forgot my singlet at home.
Well, there's
so
I've been told there's some brothers that may or may not be related.
The Johnsons
No, I mean
from New Ulm.
no. There's kids. It's pretty vibrant. Just reselling and trading that happens. I know that Will and Carter have their own, and I'm not doing this for self promotion, but they have their own Instagram page where you can buy and sell singlets and shoes, mostly shoes. But
Yeah.
a lot of kids will meet each other through these types of tournaments and then form those relationships and yada yada. But I don't know if you've gotten into that yet. It can be addictive. So
I see a lot of kids do that around me. Like I know kids that will sell shoes and buy shoes back to back. I'm like, I should start doing that. It looks fun. It sounds fun. So maybe I will start doing it.
Cool. I think we've kind of talked through most of the questions I had for you. Is there anything else you wanted to cover? Any other closing thoughts on kind of just your your season here, and maybe I do have an extra question for you, but any other thoughts on kind of this freestyle season, this freestyle Greco season?
All I have to say is I just wanted to thank all the people that coached me to get me to where I was this season. That's all I had to say.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we're blessed in the Minnesota wrestling community with lots of great resources and coaching. Also just in Waconia here too, but around we all have the same goal for all you guys to help you guys fall in love with the sport and have fun and get better, right? So
yeah.
What does the rest of the summer and then going into the school year look like for you? Are you doing any football? Are you doing any fall sports?
Yeah, I'll be starting football up in 2 weeks for probably a month or so. So that should be fun, playing football.
Nice. And then are you are you doing some preseason wrestling tournaments at all, or you just kind of focus on get ready for the season?
I think I might be doing preseason nationals again. So
is that the one down in Des Moines? USA Wrestling preseason nationals?
Yeah.
I know they have the one in lacrosse too. I can't remember, that kind of rebrands itself each year, right? Oh, you've done that one in the past. The border battle or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I have one more thing to say out there to all the elementary kids that want to just don't worry about the wins or losses and just keep getting to the practice room, keep getting better each day, and eventually you'll hit your goals.
Nice. Yeah, it's all about getting better, right? You can be competing too much, but if you're not working on your skills, if you're not honing your craft, it's right. So,
yep.
Well, cool. Okay, I really appreciate you joining the podcast tonight, and appreciate everyone out there tuning in, and or whoever goes back and listens to this. We still have lots of guests queued up for the rest of this fall as we lead up to the season. Shout out to our Waconia Wrestling Club, who is going to be having a golf tournament fundraiser next Friday, or a week from this Friday, the August 23rd. So more to come on that. We might do a show relative to that, but shameless plug for that. We'll have a silent auction and things like that for those that aren't golfing, for everyone to be a part of. So anyway, Cameron, really appreciate you joining, and thanks. Season.
See ya.
See ya.